that is for that. Oh yeah.
Go meet someone to go pick up this new project car that's going to replace the Compact, the E46. So I'm really excited about this one. Let's hope it's as good as what it seems. Molden tested the car. He went for a test drive in it. It seems cool. It seems okay. But yeah, we'll see. I haven't seen the car. I've seen a video of it. I've seen pictures of it. So I guess we're just going to have to see when we get there. And it's about 3 hours drive from where I am, so more or less 3,000 kilometers. So 300 kilometers, 3,000 k's. You can walk from here, it's fine. So I'm going to drive it back, and we'll just have to see how that goes. But should be fun. How's it, guys? So welcome back. So what is it that we're going to use? What is it that we have that's going to take the place of the E46? Well, here it is. This thing is quite worn out. Done a lot of miles, almost 300,000 k's, which has probably been turned back, who knows, but it's worn out. The state of the door. Dash is not bad. The dash is quite good. Looks like these seats have been changed because it came with the white interior, so it should have had white leather seats. 10 to 1, these have been changed. Looks like someone's been chewing on the gear lever. That's normal. Steering's worn out, that's why this cover is on here. Now it's just old. Interior, we actually don't care, that's all coming out. The important thing is that the body is straight, it seems to run alright. It has a lot of old issues, niggles. You're going to get that with an old car. It's going to be a good project. Now I'm going to continue with the bottom line BMW build because this is a beautiful platform that everybody can relate to. The one thing that I do love about this one specifically is that it still has the original rims. For this build we're going to use these rims. They're 15s. Everyone is running these ridiculous rims on this car. This car was never designed to run with 18s, 19s, and it looks ridiculous in my opinion. You could probably go to a 17 without messing up with the geometry. In the beginning we're going to run the 15s. Tires are cheaper, you get the center of gravity down much lower than you would with the 17. There's probably advantages that are missing, maybe the gear ratios, blah 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 blah, and 10 to 1 everybody's going to tell me, oh, you need a 17, whatever. I don't care. We're going to run these. I have them, they're good. Tires are cheaper. That's important when you're working with a budget build. So right now what we're going to do, we're going to weigh it, and then we're taking this puppy to the dyno. So we are on our way to Swartkorps Raceway again. When I say we, the car and myself. And I'm not going to go test this car on the track. I'm not going to go do a baseline lap. I'm going to go and weigh the car so that we have a good starting point, obviously, to understand what the base weight is and where we're going to get to. The reason I'm not taking this car out onto the track is it needs a lot of work. The one thing about this car is it evokes so much emotion when you drive, and it's such a driver's car. driver's car that it is just evokes this emotion and these memories from my childhood watching Static Group N, because they raced these cars pretty much as they came out of the box. That was the idea, but they were raced by drivers like Grant Fitzkalkwyk and Robbie Smith, amongst others. And it just talks to you. Listen, fuck, it's so good. I'm going to the track. We're going to go and weigh it and see where we come out to. Okay, we're here on the scale. Let's have a look. That is without me in the car, with me in the car. And that's about half a tank of fuel. That's interesting, very interesting. So I'm not sure how much we'll be able to cut out of that, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see, you know. But she looks good. We have made it. The car made it. We are here by RBTS. We're just waiting for the guys to arrive, open up, and then we're going to get this puppy strapped onto the dyno. And we're going to do a power run to see pretty much what you make. So yeah, we'll just have to wait till they get here and then see. Alright, she's all strapped up. Guys are going to get busy. So the process is that Ross first warms up the car, and if we're doing just a power run, then he will pretty much do 3 runs back to back to check the consistency. That's pretty much it. So that's what he does here. Notice was it almost feels like the Dyno is not working.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, okay.
And before you strip it, it's quite an easy thing to test before you're going to put the management system on.
Okay.
Just power it up because it works with power. Just switch it on and make sure that the engine changes tone. If it does, then it's safe to strip and you don't have to worry about the Dynos.
Okay.
If it doesn't change tone with just a raw power on it,
just 12 volts.
12 volts on that one wire.
Yes.
12, obviously strong 12 volts, not a thin wire. While the car is idling, you just tap it on and make sure that the car changes tone. It's a quick cheap test.
Okay.
Then you're going to be able to strip the engine and not worry about it. If it's got no response when you strip the engine, you're going to have to check your solenoids, your pulleys, all that shit. It could even be an oil pressure problem. But the car does look very weak in the low RPM. The funny thing though is the Dyno is for high RPM. Yeah. So even if the Dyno fails, you're going to gain in this area here when the Dyno works, or lose if it doesn't. But up here, the Dyno should have deactivated and it's in its static setting.
Yes.
So it's still down because these ones usually make a good 111, 112.
Okay.
In saying that though, a lot of them are slightly modified. But a nice conversion for this would be the 330, because then you've got CCs.
Yeah,
and then just work the head and cam but I mean you could easily see in the mid 100, 150, 160 if you do it properly.
Wow.
But it could cost you a bit of ammo there.
Is it?
Yeah.
So 330 stock rods, pistons.
Obviously you'd put rod bolts and stuff like that, and knowing the history of that generation's con rods and crankshafts and shit, maybe a nice set of rods would be nice. As part of your conversion, that you're not buying bits of parts, that you're buying performance parts of that recipe, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
But yeah, awesome. So nice before run. Throttles would also work nicely, also boost.
Boost. Alright, so that was quite eventful. It was a great run at the dyno. Big thank you to Ross at RBTS for helping us out. They're such good people, him and his wife. They always deliver such good value and such good feedback on what to do, what not to do. So if you need a dyno, please check them out. We're going to be using them as I go forward with this build. So there'll be various iterations of what we do on the engine, but we'll keep that for a later date. So where did we get to? What did we make? So in terms of power, we made about 101 kilowatts, pretty much 100 kilowatts at 5,500 RPM. Now, the interesting thing is that it feels like you can feel a significant change in the pull of the car here around 3,000. So that you can also see in the graph, on the power curve. And that tells us that it looks like the VANOS is not working. The VANOS should give you mid-range, give you a lot more mid-range in this. So it looks like it's quite, to use Ross's terms, looks like it's quite pop, which means it's quite down on power. This should be making about 115, somewhere around there I reckon. If you look at the torque, you can see here 3,000. There's a significant change here, just after 3. In its static state, if it's not active, the car is almost tuned for maximum power. So when the VANOS is switched on, it's supposed to give you mid-range, more mid-range. So there's a lot of telltale signs that the VANOS is not working. So whether that is the O-rings in the actual pulley system or the solenoid that's not working, I don't know. Max torque was 202 newtons at 5,000 RPM. So that's your peak number. That has nothing to do with the VANOS. This motor is significantly down on power and torque. 10-1, that is just age. I did see when we started it and they were moving it onto the dyno, I saw that there was a bit of smoke coming out the exhaust, which means it's probably valve stem seals. It wasn't smoking on the dyno, and I haven't seen smoke come out the car behind me. But 10-1, the rings are worn. You know, it's a high mileage engine. It's gone through various owners, so it needs a refresh. What do we do? Where are we going now? I'm gonna do the budget build. Okay, so the same theme. Tell you guys what it takes to basically build a race car without spending tons of money. That's the whole concept of this build. And then from there, once we've achieved that, we'll start fiddling with the motor and that. There are going to be mechanicals that will need to be replaced, and that's unfortunately part of it. So the budget build part of it will probably exclude the mechanicals, because you'll have to do that on any car. So if your car is in good mechanical condition, then you know it's going to cost you a lot less, and that's always a good thing. If you want to build a race car, if you want to convert your car to a race car, the better condition that it's in it'll reduce the overall cost of the build. So where do we go? Well, next I've got this puppy that needs to go in. I'm going to gut the interior. We've got our baseline weight, get rid of the stuff I don't need, build a frame for the seat, mount the seat, then it needs to go for a roll cage, all of that good stuff, and then from there, it just depends what's ready, you know, suspension, brakes, the whole nine. But like I said, there's a ton of mechanical work that's required on this thing. So we might even have to pull the engine because the gearbox is leaking, so who knows, but let's just see. Let's have fun with it. Stay with us and thank you for joining us.